this happens to all of us. With your experience or inexperience, it doesn't make any difference. Down here, especially down here in the Ozark, we have a lot of trees that line the stream. This particular area is pretty wide open. I just happened to catch it on a back cast. But a lot of times when you're playing fish and you've got trees behind you and you're playing fish, you've got tension on the line and the hook comes out of the fit, ends up flying up. That happens pretty often. Getting caught on back cast too high, too far behind you, those things. Anyway, you're hung up in a tree. If you have somebody with you, you can hand them the rod and you can try to get the fly down. That keeps the rod and the reel out of the gravel and the sand. But if you're by yourself, you can set the rod down and then try to give it enough tension here, enough slack here. Give it enough slack, you can go set the rod down and then try to pull the limb down. One of the things you have to be very careful about when there's that much pressure on that limb as you're pulling the fly is make sure that you don't have the end of the hook in a position where if something slips, the fly gets caught in your finger, because that happens. But one of the things you don't want to do is take your rod and slide it all the way up to the fly and try to get the fly loose. You've got a fly that's worth, $1.50, $2, whatever. A lot less if you tie it yourself. But if you run your rod tip up there and it gets hung up, there's a good chance, there's a possibility you could pull the tip off. You could also, possibility, when you pull on it really hard, to break the tippet and pull the end of your section off. Now if it happens here and I pull the section off, I'm probably going to have a good chance of picking it up. But if this was over the stream, if I was over in a tree that's hanging out over the stream and that happens and that rod tip falls off, then it's going to go down into the river and you may not get it back. So you have to be really careful about how you get your flies out. One of the things that I have found making it easier to get it out for me and saving the rod and trying to save the fly, obviously, but also trying to keep the rod and the reel out of the gravel and sand. What I'll do is I'll take the rod, give it a lot of slack, a lot of line slack, and then find a spot to lay the rod down. That way I can keep the rod and the reel out of the gravel and the sand. And you can take the line and try to pull it down, but this one's going to be pretty high. So I'm going to have to find a branch. What I like to find are branches, just laying around on the ground that are, about 1 inch in diameter, fairly long, and have some kind of a hook on it, where I can reach up and grab the limb and pull the limb down to me. This might work. It's the shape that we want, except that it's pretty heavy, top heavy. Not exactly straight here, but what you're looking for branches similar to this that have the notch. So actually, the limb tree grows like this, so you have to turn it around. This might work if it's long enough. It wouldn't hook too bad. Problem was trying to reach it. Anyway, you get the idea. If you have a longer, thinner, it's not quite as heavy, it works a little bit better. And if you can find a notch on the limb that's sticking out, to get a hold of that. And that's what I missed on the first couple of times. I couldn't get high enough to get a notch, but you get the idea. Now sometimes, it's not always not always that easy to find something laying around. Sometimes you gotta get back in the brush a little bit and do a little bit of hunting to find the right kind of branch. But anyway, that's one technique to kind of get the fly out of the tree for you.